Hey folks, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. I was just thinking of something oh yeah, my Instagram algorithm is all kinds of whack these days because I may have watched maybe one or two of these reels which included people walking into the cabin, flight cabin, with gifts for the flight attendant and staff and pilots and whatnot. And now, after having watched one reel, of course, Instagram thinks that's all I want to watch. So every second reel is now somebody walking into a aircraft cabin and gifting outrageous things. The last one I saw just before, I guess, coming live here, was somebody walked in with what looked like 8 or 9 boxes of uh, Apple headphones, the brand new Apple headphones, for cabin crew and I guess pilots, which of course in this case it's more for content than anything else. I don't know if that was even a fully real thing or a staged thing, but yeah, it's just getting absurd if that's what people are doing, to take small gifts for cabin crew. Back in the day, I had still have that friend, Michelle, if you're listening in, still a friend, but Michelle would do a great job of buying chocolates when we would travel all over the world for work stuff. She would always pick up duty-free chocolates for cabin crew, and that was always, you know, a thing that people would talk about once she walked into the cabin. She would get extra attention from the cabin crew members, and all of that was true. And I'm talking like 15 years ago. And I'm sure this was being done even years before that. But now, at least what my algorithm is trying to tell me is that people have become, I guess, much like most things, social media, it's gone to a different level. So some chocolates and a nice note is no longer a thing to talk about. It needs to be bigger, outrageous. Do any of you or have any of you actively bought smaller gifts for cabin crew members, or have thought about it, or have seen others on your flight do that, and have noticed a different level of service being provided? It wasn't with an expectation that we would get or she would get better service, but it was more to do with, hey, this is just a genuine thank you, a nice smile, a quick conversation as to, where you're going and blah, blah. And then that's it. And an extra wave of goodbye or, whatever that was. It was never for better service, but at least what Instagram Reel tries to show me now is basically these people bringing outlandish gifts into the aircraft for cabin crew, and then cabin crew coming along and giving them extra meals or extra tchotchkes. I don't know, just things, which is odd because then again we are down to transactional, which yeah, what defeats the purpose of trying to do this in the first place. So nobody bought anything, nobody's buying anything for people, for cabin crew members. What are you folks doing? Just kidding. You do you. I often think of these things and I forget. On the day when I'm going, I'm just in such a uh, calculated sort of calculation in terms of timing, where I need to be, when I need to be, often taking pictures and often, doing it for the review and things like that. Just completely slips my mind every now and every time. But every now and then I do think that one of these days I should stop by at a duty free and pick up something for the cabin crew. Yeah, and that's a big one. And Heather says, and I don't have space in my bag for gifts. And that's the other piece uh, that comes with being team carry-on only. There's only so much space left for little trinkets and gifts. Cool. Now my mind is going at other stories of travel. We were traveling through Ethiopia because you mentioned gifts. What are some of your outlandish gift items you've bought at airports? One of my friends, sort of we were passing by several countries across Africa, and we had gone through about 10 countries. This is Alec, a good friend of mine, uh, and going into Addis Airport. Actually, no, not even going in. Walking out of the Addis Airport, his bag got pulled over, and out comes two swords. Like, I kid you not, like full on, one full on sword and one giant, and this was in his check bag, so obviously not an issue that not something that he was carrying on him, but in his check bag. So customs pulled it aside, and then of course he had a couple of these things, couple of these knives and swords, and we had just traveled about 10 countries in the last, I would say, 10 to 14 days. And I had not seen this. And apparently, he had been carrying it with him in his check bags from Zambia, maybe, or one of the countries that was at the very beginning. So we would always start down in South Africa and then make our way up to Ethiopia, across the Eastern African coast, or across the East Africa coast, and then cross over to Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and that entire area over to the West Coast. So, anyways, he was carrying that from the start of the trip and through several airports. And he had bought it at one of the in maybe it was South Africa. I don't know where he bought it, but he had bought it in one of the first couple of countries we were at. And he said, "Oh, how come it wasn't an issue in the last 10 airports we've been to?" But again, he wasn't trying to argue. He was just chuckling with the customs officer. And we all thought, oh my God, here we go. Alec bought swords and knives, which are now out. And this is going to not only delay the entire group, he's going to lose his gifts. And it might, I don't know how they'll even deal with the fact that these could be, in a way, quote unquote, weapons that are being carried in a suitcase. But anyways, to our absolute surprise, they did not confiscate it. They said, we won't let you take this outside the airport, but you can leave it at the airport. They took down his boarding pass details and blah blah, and they said when you leave the country, because you're going back out of Addis again in maybe a couple of days. So they said when you leave, just make sure you come to the airport early enough, and then you can take your item with you as you're leaving the country, but we won't let you bring it into the country. So never in my wildest imagination did I think that one, somebody would try and bring in swords and knives through an airport, or let alone through 10 airports in Africa, um, across Africa rather. Uh, and none of us, and we were about a group of 20 or so, we had a wager going, and none of us gave him any chance that he's going to see his swords and things again, ever. But to our absolute surprise, we came in early, maybe a couple of hours early to the airport. It took a little while, but sure enough, he got his swords and stuff, and this time fully wrapped and packed like it was supposed to be sent out to DHL or UPS, like with bubble wrap and things like that. So they not only kept it at the airport, they had bubble wrapped it and everything else, which made it e- even funnier that they had done the packaging for him as he was leaving the country. And then, of course, he brought it back with him to Nigeria, on to Ghana. And I think that was the end of our trip in Ghana. And we all flew back until date. That this is one of the stories he loves to tell and remind us all. It sort of is up on his wall. Heather says, I don't buy things for others. I'm selfish. Okay, I know it's tongue in cheek, Heather. Fair enough. Mayank says, lot of duty-free alcohol for father-in-law. Yeah, Mayank, well done. Uh, Father-in-law reminds me of another story. So a few years ago, my father-in-law enjoys his drinks as well. So I bought him some high-end, like he likes his rum. And Mayank, I don't know if your father-in-law is in India or is here, but in India, anyways, let me uh, say the story in a better way. So, anyways, I got him some high-end rum on our way to India. Got there and he absolutely hated it. Hated the fact that this premium rum or whatever this rum was no match for his old monk. And if rum lovers, or if you are Indian descent, you know the kind of fan following Old Monk has as a brand for rum drinkers. But yeah, he was happy to take it as a gift. But yeah, it was very quickly made clear that it was no match for an Old Monk. Yeah, Mayank says Old Monk was my first. Yeah. Right. Let's transition to a couple of news items that came across my desk. And this is more a question. I kind of noticed this and I forgot to talk about it last week. One of the promotions during Black Friday doing the rounds was, of course, Scene Plus. Scene Plus had sent out targeted emails to a lot of cardholders and account holders about 20% back in points when redeeming until December 12th. So that promotion is still on, but I've been reading a lot of sort of inconsistent message. I've been reading a lot of messages around inconsistent points returns. So some of them were seeing 10% back, some of them were seeing 15% back. So it clearly is up to 20%. If you haven't yet done it, and if you're a Scotiabank member, then you may want to just check your emails again and search for Scene Plus rewards, and that's where the emails were coming from. Or you can log into your Scene Plus account, and you should see a little banner up there that says 20% back in points promotion. And again, that is available until December 12th. And the good news is you could get 20% back for any redemptions you do between 10,000 points to 50,000 points. In other Canadian news, and this is kind of the big one, and for the credit card community, so we'll have to wait and see what comes off it. EQ Bank is set to acquire PC Financial. I did not see this coming. And honestly, I didn't realize that the owners of EQ Bank, the main company that owns EQ Bank, are big enough to purchase PC Financial, because PC Financial was, Loblaws and that group. So I never thought that PC Financial as a product can be bought out completely, but here we are. So EQ Bank is set to acquire PC Financial, which is great for EQ. If for those of you that don't know about EQ Bank or EQ Bank card, it sort of does pretty decently amongst casual travelers because EQ Bank has its own prepaid card, prepaid travel card, because it doesn't charge you 2.5% foreign transaction fee. It allows you to load up your own money as much as you need or as little as you need, and you can even earn up to I guess you earn 0.5% back on any international transactions you're making with that card. So it's pretty decent. You're not losing anything on foreign exchange fee, and you're earning zero point 0.5 back on your international transactions, which is pretty solid. And I think, in my opinion, what the biggest draw for that card was that they do not charge you any ATM fees. At least EQ Bank doesn't charge you any ATM fee. Anytime you are within Canada or outside of Canada and you're trying to withdraw money out of a different ATM, both sides charge you the money, right? The bank that operates your card and also the bank that operates the machine. But in this case, EQ waives all of their fee, so you only get charged any third-party fee, if that. Yeah, so pretty solid product for a lot of the casual travelers and such, and also allows you to sort of keep mm, your travel funds in check, if that's a thing. For a lot of families, for younger travelers and such, this is a great card, and we've kind of promoted them on our website as well. Um, so take a look if you haven't. But the reason I say good for them is because EQ really did not have any traditional credit cards. But now, if they're taking over PC Financial, we'll have to wait and watch as to what happens to the entire product lineup of PC Financial. But if they fully adopt the cards and also keep that 2.5% kind of thing on some of these newer cards, then fingers crossed, we'll have a nice suite of cards that don't charge you foreign exchange fee, or at least we'll have to wait and see what they do with the product line, but I'm just dreaming it up. Oh, my uncle already comes in and says, I can bet somebody will buy Neo Financial too. Okay, I don't know where that came from, Mike, but I'm hoping Neo Financial just continues to grow because the product that we all love from Neo Financial is obviously the Cathay Pacific card. But anyways, we are going off away from EQ. Let's finish up with EQ and we'll come to Neo quickly or shortly after. TP is here. TP says, my second oldest card. Yeah, and that's the other thing. A lot PC Financial cards have been around for a long time. And from back in the day, I just remember them having a little booth or an office in every Loblaws superstores. Um, and because they had a physical presence there, and back in the day when you would have to fill up like a credit card application and such on paper, they always had all of those things ready for you to go, and you could get very easy approvals with PC Financials for a decent welcome bonus, be it 80,000 points or 100,000 points every now and then that came about. Grimsley says same, so I guess second oldest card for them too. Alex says, my guess is that EQ will keep the PC branding and point system loyalty programs. Since it's well known, I can't see them trying to launch something new. Yeah, fair enough. I think that would be best case scenario for the large membership that PC Financial brings with it. But in my sort of dream works, I was thinking more in terms of once they have that, what else can they build into that card, or what else can they build as a product, which is EQ plus PC Financial, because PC Financial was never a travel card. It was more an everyday lifestyle card or a grocery card in my mind. Like you collected so many of these PC points pretty quickly through that card, and then you're able to use them at grocery stores, at checkout, and such. That's what far majority of us do, or not me, but the folks that I know do at grocery stores. So I don't know where EQ sits in that, and if this acquisition allows them to bring newer products, tweak the product slightly. Okay, a couple of comments. Grimsby says Loblaws will keep the branding and data. They kept the credit card portfolio after selling the deposit business to CIBC and rebuilt the deposit account, PC Money, because they wanted customer financial data. Not my world. I definitely do not understand this part of it. They'll still have access to the data. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, that's what I figured. That without the data, like this would not make any sense for EQ's acquisition. Heather says three cards. Oh, Heather's confirming it's three cards that PC has: PC MasterCard, PC World MasterCard, and PC World Elite MasterCard. Okay, so I thought it was just the World Elite and a regular one, but apparently there's a World MasterCard in there as well. So three cards. It'd be nice to see if, at least on the Elite World Elite side, EQ could port over some of its features and perks from its own um, portfolio, let's say, to, you know, for lack of a better term, beef it up. Yes, Mayank says Avios devaluation. Yeah, let's talk about Avios devaluation. Um, yeah, Avios is doing what they do. So the good, I guess, good. I don't have other words to say it. So I guess the good news is they've given us a 2 week heads up that there's a devaluation coming. They've given us the reasons given is everything from inflation to increased airport charges to everything else. The fact that apparently, in their own words, they haven't changed the redemption rates in a while. So this is just adjusting to market conditions, which is what's the polite way? Baloney is the right word. Um, so yeah, it's network wide. It's not just for British Airways redemptions. It's going to be partner redemptions as well. The British Airways redemptions will see probably the biggest change simply because anything in and out of LHR or London will see a decent hike. They have shared. I mean, it's on their redemption page. So if you go Avios redemption on that page, you'll notice they have a bunch of FAQs, a couple of examples. I took a screen grab of that example, and sort of is the example of rate change they have shared with us is London to Geneva each way. So economy off peak was 9,250. Now will become 10,000. So minimalist change there. At peak, it was 9,700, becomes 10,700 redemption. And this is for economy. Let's just focus on business here. So business off peak, London to Geneva, so very much within that European region. It's going to increase from 15,000 to 16,500 off peak. And for peak, it goes from 16,250 to 18,000. And I guess the biggest hit will obviously be the example they gave us, which is London, New York, the long distance, the long haul. So for premium economy, the peak was 120,000 with 305 pounds, is now increasing by 12,000 points, going to 132,000 and 350. These are return fares. So half of that, so 60,000 and 61,000, or sorry, 71,000 rather. And business class goes from off peak 160 to 176,000. Oof, these are some serious changes. And of course, first class will change as well from 136 to 150,000. But yeah, regardless of the numbers they've shared with us, this is just uh, a sad story that Avios is going to devalue a bit more. It remain. I mean, the good news is for most of us or most of folks that engage with RBC Avion to Avios. I'm assuming you're trying to move everything into Qatar to use it for Qatar business class. that shouldn't, there's no changes there in terms of how you can move things around. But if you're redeeming inside of the Avios world, British Airways Avios world, then you can expect to see these changes. Sticking to the One World ecosystem, uh, American came out with a little promotion, American Advantage, that is, with a little promotion called the American Advantage Pass. Um, and they sent out emails. And basically, what this is similar to pre-grouped benefits for a certain pre-group benefits with points or miles in this case, like a package deal, and you can buy that package. They're calling it the Advantage Pass, um, but it's priced at 5,000 USD. What does it entail? It entails instant Advantage Gold status, which is the entry level status, 100,000 American Advantage bonus miles, and 15,000 bonus loyalty points, so something that counts towards your status. So they're clubbing these three things together for 5,000 US dollars. Don't know how many takers they would get because this doesn't make the pricing doesn't make sense. And I think Gary Leff wrote about this, that the pricing doesn't make sense, and I had to agree with that. Even if you did a super generous, like 2 cents a point for the 100,000, that only brings you to $2,000. What about the other $3,000? Is the gold status, which is, like I said, an entry level status, plus 15,000 status miles worth $3,000? I don't know. Um, and I wonder, and this is a good initiative because I've mentioned this before here as well, with it with the subscription of miles and things that KLM Air France does with their program that I subscribe to. Uh, we are seeing airlines becoming really good at packaging certain benefits where for a certain price point, maybe doing it just as a one time thing in a year, or maybe a couple of times in a year. We saw Aeroplan offer something with the SAF fuel, which was 5,000 status points, SQM, I guess, 5,000 SQM, if up to 5,000 SQM for buying sustainable fuel credits. So we are now seeing airlines really get creative with how they generate a little bit of money, especially doing it this time around because they know people are a little more desperate to make their status cuts to meet their requirements. So now we are seeing, I mean, Aeroplan did it slightly earlier. I guess they did that in September, October. Advantage is doing it right in December with a few weeks to go before people lock in their status. So these are some decent ways of not having to fly, but get those button seat miles, so to speak. But the pricing really needs to make sense for something like this. I did think that the SAF fuel promotion done by Air Canada was half decent because, again, it was purely SQM earned. There was nothing else to it. You purchase these credits, you get your SQM. And if you were off by, say, 1,000, 2,000 SQM and you didn't want to put in a whole bunch of money into your credit card, to generate that SQM, then this was an easy way of doing it. And I suppose a lot of business flyers, I know for a fact that that promotion would have appealed to a lot of road warriors or business travelers that are winding down their business travel in November and December. So something like that would have really worked for them if they hadn't met their cut by October, mid to late October, in case of Aeroplan. But similar vibes with the American one as well, where they're trying to target that audience too. Yeah, at 5,000, it's a no-go, I guess, even for the most ardent American American Advantage member. The only thing I can think of is for the casual traveler, like I said, business travelers would be the ones that will still look at this and go, you know what, if I'm just off by 10,000 to 15,000 sort of qualifying miles, I may as well just do this, get my 100,000 along with, and the gold status won't mean much to them if they're a true road warrior. But yeah, no matter how you see it, at least out of the three things they're giving you, two of the three have to fit your plans, even if one doesn't. So be it the gold status, you don't care about that, but the other two are important to you. I'm assuming most people will care about the 100,000 bonus miles, and some people will care about the 15,000 status miles as well. But yeah, if this was me making a decision and I had to, two out of the three things out in that package must should appeal to me if I had to pull the trigger. But even with that math, 5,000 seems like a lot of money to just do that. Hilton has now finally said yes. A few people did sleuthing, and turns out that Hilton had been working on and had launched a ultra elite invite only program, Hilton's own program, and it's called the Hilton Society. If it if this doesn't sound like a cult, I don't know what does. So the Hilton Society is basically a tier above the recently announced Diamond Reserve tier, even, and this is like an invite only, kind of like, well, who can tell me what Marriott's invite only program is called? Anyone? Marriott's invite only program, invite only status, which is above the ambassador tier. Off the back? No, we need a Martin here. It's on Marriott Centurion. Cobalt. Yeah, it is Cobalt. Um, nice little crossover with Canadian Marriott Centurion. Um, yeah, it's called Cobalt. Anyway, so this is a Cobalt equivalent uh, called the Hilton Society. Uh, yeah, apparently. And there's a lot of literature around what the true benefits and perks are and whatnot. But one of the perks that make it, I guess, worthwhile to some of these people that perhaps are spending money or have that kind of influence or stature in society, that they have been brought into this Hilton Society invite, is every time they check in, they get the highest room category available at the hotel. So if you're doesn't matter if you're booked into a standard king size, when you check in, if there is availability in the presidential suite, you will get the presidential suite. It's just a benefit of that being part of that honors society, which is similar to what Cobalt does as well, I suppose. And then there's a whole bunch of rumors around who gets invited, who decides who gets invited, and whatnot. So, oh, Alex says, what? Nothing on Porter joining One World. Porter is not joining One World. The comment, the few things that you've just read is kind of, yeah, them basically saying they would love to, they would be the organic choice. But if you've heard Coder executives on this very forum. We asked them that, and they clearly told us that it would be great if that happens, but that's not something that's priority for them right now. And of course, and Brian spent a bit of time explaining that as to how much time it requires and how much investment it requires before you can become a One World member. And maybe they're on their way. Maybe it's a 2-year, 3-year program for them. I'm sure there is chatter happening as they are aligning themselves with Alaska, with American, and I think once the American thing sort of unfolds completely, then we can totally see them being part of One World eventually. But like they explained, I don't think that's happening anytime soon, anytime imminently, for them to make things happen. All right, I'm fading away and looking at the clock as well. It's past 10. Let's close this one out.